So we are reading Ikigai. We are on chapter 2, page 42 of the book and page 32 of the PDF. Better living through logotherapy, a few key ideas. Shivangla, you're on.
Better living through logotherapy, a few key ideas. We don't create the meaning of our life as Sartre claimed. We discover it.
So again,
We
this is an important point itself. When you are attempting to create something, you are doing it with your small mind, and your small mind doesn't know everything. So when we act out of getting into the flow, then what happens is that we actually keep discovering what life is all about. So if we allow new things to come into our life, if we are present to what is the universe bringing into our life, then the discovery process keeps happening.
we each have a unique reason for being, which can be adjusted or transformed many times over the years.
So we are all here for a particular purpose. And as we start experiencing things, new lessons are constantly created for us to learn.
Just as worry often brings about precisely the thing that was feared, excess attention to a desire or hyper-intention can keep that desire from being fulfilled.
So again, so what was happening? If you are operating on the left side of the grade, then you are operating in depleting energy. And wherever you focus your attention, that is what is going to manifest. Now, if I have an intense desire for something, it implies that I'm operating out of lack. And when I operate out of lack, it means I'm operating from the left side of the grid. And because I'm paying attention to that, the very thing that I don't want to manifest, or I'm intensely wanting to manifest because I'm operating out of lack, so it plays a reverse role. When I'm operating out of lack, I will not get what I want. And when I'm operating from the left side of the grid, I cannot manifest what I want. So so understanding what level of consciousness you're operating from starts to become extremely important over here.
Humor can help break negative cycles and reduce anxiety.
So again, when you have humor in your life, you're on the right side of the grid. And if you're on the right side of the grid, it implies you cannot be on the left side of the grid. So anything that is depleting or a negative cycle is on the left side of the grid. And anxiety is also on the left side of the grid. So when I get into humor, appreciation, gratitude, love, compassion, automatically what is happening is that I'm on the right side of the grid. So I naturally overcome the negative cycles and reduce anxiety.
We all have the capacity to do noble or terrible things. The side of the equation we end up on depends on our decisions, not on the condition in which we find ourselves.
So again, again, it boils down to what state of consciousness are you operating from? Are you operating from a depleting consciousness, or are you operating from an uplifting state of consciousness? And if you're operating from a depleting state, then you can do things which are totally counterproductive to what you really want to achieve. So again, we can be very mean if we are on the left side of the grid. We can get angry if we are on the left side of the grid. We operate out of fear if we are on the left side of the grid. Okay, if we are on the right side, then again, everything becomes uplifting.
In the pages that follow, we will look at 4 cases from Frankl's own practice in order to better understand the search for meaning and purpose. Case study, Viktor Frankl. In German concentration camps, as in those that would later be built in Japan and Korea, psychiatrists confirmed that the prisoners with the greatest chance of survival were those who had things they wanted to accomplish outside the camp, those who felt a strong need to get out of there alive.
So again,
This was
now
true of Frankl.
when I'm looking up to something, I'm looking forward to something, I'm allowing the flow into my life, then what is happening? I'm on the right side of the grid. I'm willing to focus on that. Okay. So naturally, people who are on the right side of the grid live with an uplifting kind of an energy field in their life. And so the chances of survival automatically become much better. Shivangla, have we lost her or have you lost me?
No, we've lost Mangla.
Today, our net is very bad.
Case study Viktor Frankl. In German concentration camps, as in those that were later built in Japan and Korea, psychiatrists confirmed that the prisoners with the greatest chance of survival were those who had things they wanted to accomplish outside the camp, those who felt a strong need to get out of there alive. This was true of Frankl, who, after being released and successfully developing the school of logotherapy, realized he had been the first patient of his own practice. Frankl had a goal to achieve, and it made him persevere. He arrived at Auschwitz carrying a manuscript that contained all the theories and research he had compiled over the course of his career, ready for publication. When it was confiscated, he felt compelled to write it all over again, and that need drove him and gave his life meaning amid the constant horror and the doubt of the concentration camp.
So again,
So much so that over the years,
even in the Gita, they say that when you're looking at Karma Yoga, so Karma Yoga says attach yourself to a higher goal. The moment you attach yourself to a goal, a laksh, then you get invigorated in your life. Okay. So he attached himself to a higher goal that they've taken my manuscript away, I'm going to write it again. So he really got after writing the script again. Okay, so and that is what kept him alive.
this was true of Frankl, who after being released so much so that over the years, and especially when he fell ill with typhus, he would jot down fragments and keywords from the lost work on any scrap of paper he found.
So he got one pointed, okay, and every time he was doing that. So when you start really focusing on a goal, you can start doing wonders with it.
Case study The American Diplomat. An important North American diplomat went to Frankl to pick up where he left off, with a course of treatment he had started 5 years earlier in the United States. When Frankl asked him why he'd started therapy in the first place, the diplomat answered that he hated his job and his country's international policies, which he had to follow and enforce. His American psychoanalyst, whom he'd been seeing for years, insisting he make peace with his father so that his government and his job, both representations of the paternal figure, would seem less disagreeable.
So now what happened?
Frankl, however,
Square peg in a round hole. So you can never be happy if you are a square peg in a round hole. Okay. And in psychoanalysis and therapy, they boil everything down to your parents and to your birthing process. And that is not always the truth. Okay.
When Frankl asked him why he'd started therapy in the first place, the diplomat answered that he hated his job and his country's international policies. His American psychoanalyst, whom he'd been seeing for years, insisted he make peace with his father so that his government and his job, both representations of the paternal figure, would seem less disagreeable. Frankl, however, showed him in just a few sessions that his frustration was due to the fact that he wanted to pursue a different career, and the diplomat concluded his treatment with that idea in mind.
So now what happened? He was operating on the left side of the grid. The idea that he really needed to just change, he needed to become a square peg in a square hole, shifted his mindset, he converted into the right side of the grid, and automatically everything started going right for him.
5 years later, the former diplomat informed Frankl that he had been working during that time in a different profession and that he was happy. In Frankl's view, the man not only didn't need all those years of psychoanalysis, he also couldn't even really be considered a patient in need of therapy. He was simply someone in search of a new life's purpose. As soon as he found it, his life took on deeper meaning.
So as soon as you attach yourself to a higher goal, to a laksh, something, again, the ikigai, right? As soon as you find your ikigai, automatically everything starts shifting for you. So finding that ikigai, something, again, the 4 tenets you come back to, something that you would like to do, something that you are good at, something that the world needs, and whether you can be paid for it or not. Now, again, payment means in any terms. It's not only financial terms. Okay. As soon as you find that, automatically things start to shift in your life.
Case study: the suicidal mother. The mother of a boy who had died at age 11 was admitted to Frankl's clinic after she tried to kill herself and her other son. It was this other son, paralyzed since birth, who kept her from carrying out her plan. He did believe his life had a purpose, and if his mother killed them both, it would keep him from achieving his goals. The woman shared her story in a group session. To help her, Frankl asked another woman to imagine a hypothetical situation in which she lay on her deathbed, old and wealthy but childless. The woman insisted that, in that case, she would have felt her life had been a failure. When the suicidal mother was asked to perform the same exercise, imagining herself on her deathbed, she looked back and realized that she had done everything in her power for her children, for both of them. She had given her paralyzed son a good life, and he had turned into a kind, reasonably happy person. To this she added, crying, "As for myself, I can look back peacefully on my life, for I can say my life was full of meaning and I have tried hard to live it fully. I have done my best. I have done my best for my son. My life was no failure." In this way, by imagining herself on her deathbed and looking back, the suicidal mother found the meaning that, though she was not aware of it, her life already had.
So now what happened? Perspective change. There was a shift in her attitude, in the way that she was perceiving the same thing. So if I can shift my perspective about something, the whole thing which seems to be the most dreadful thing for us can turn to be the most positive thing for us. So every time, we have to shift. And how does a perspective shift comes? When you shift into a higher state of consciousness, or you shift your direction from which you are looking at that thing.
Case study: the grief-stricken doctor. An elderly doctor, unable to overcome the deep depression into which he'd fallen after the death of his wife 2 years earlier, went to Frankl for help. Instead of giving him advice or analyzing his condition, Frankl asked him what would have happened if he had been the one who died first. The doctor, horrified, answered that it would have been terrible for his poor wife, that she would have suffered tremendously. To which Frankl responded, "You see, doctor, you have spared her all that suffering, but the price you have to pay for this is to survive and mourn her." The doctor didn't say another word. He left Frankl's office in peace. After taking the therapist's hand in his own, he was able to tolerate the pain in place of his beloved wife. His life had been given a purpose.
So again, a perspective shift. From where you are pulling yourself down, now you realize that there's no point in pulling yourself down. you pull yourself up. Okay, so the self-judgment that we have about ourselves, the self-critique that we are constantly criticizing ourselves, we are constantly demeaning ourselves, not realizing that we are doing that. Again, I repeat, I'm constantly repeating that if you can understand which side of the grid you're operating on, you will get this very, very clearly. The point is, if you just have that grid in your mind, that I want to shift onto the right side, that's it. And all the perspectives will start to shift.
Morita Therapy. In the same decade that logotherapy came into being, a few years earlier, in fact, Shoma Morita created his own purpose-centered therapy in Japan. It proved to be effective in the treatments of neurosis, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and post-traumatic stress.
So obsessive convulsive disorder is OCD. They keep repeating the same task. You know, this guy will keep washing their hand, that kind of thing.
Lost you, bhaiya.
I'm still here.
Net is giving a problem. Oh, he's still here.
Yeah, today from morning even my place net is a problem.
Shivangla, go ahead.
In addition to being a psychotherapist, Shoma Morita was a Zen Buddhist, and his therapy left a lasting spiritual mark on Japan. Many Western forms of the therapy focus on controlling or modifying the patient's emotions. In the West, we tend to believe that what we think influences how we feel, which in turn influences how we act. In contrast, Morita therapy focuses on teaching patients to accept their emotions without trying to control them, since their feelings will change as a result of their actions.
So again, it's a matter of the heart, which is feeling, and the brain, which is the logic. They have to start working in conjunction. Okay. Once they start working in conjunction, that is when you get real power into you. But if one is thinking this way and the other is thinking the other way, you create a very big confusion in your mind. Okay. Because again, the one is pulling and the other is pushing. And of course, how we feel influences how we think, and how we think influences how we feel. So again, harmony between the two becomes very, very important.
Sorry, which two, Niket?
The feeling and the thinking, the logic and
Thank
the
you.
feeling.
In addition to accepting the patient's emotions, Morita therapy seeks to create new emotions on the basis of actions. According to Morita, these emotions are learned through experience and repetition. Morita therapy is not meant to eliminate symptoms. Instead, it teaches us to accept our desires, anxieties, fears, and worries, and let them go. As Morita writes in his book, Morita Therapy and the True Nature of Anxiety-Based Disorders. In feelings, it is best to be wealthy and generous.
So now what happens? The moment we start accepting that something is troubling us, we start bringing awareness to it, we bring attention to it, that we are operating on the left side of the grid. Now, desires, anxieties, fears, worries, all of them are on the left side of the grid. So anything that is in the left side of the grid, you need to drop it. So what does he say? To let them go. So the moment you drop it, the matter is closed. Because if most of the time we are always worried about what? Anxiety about the future, worried about what's going to happen in the future, and guilt or again worry about what we did or what happened in the past. But what have we got with us right now? It is only the present, nothing else. So if we can focus on the present, do the action which is required in the present, which we read in Power of Now, come into the present. The moment we start doing that, then everything automatically suddenly starts to fall into place.
Morita explained the idea of letting go of negative feelings with the following fable. A donkey that is tied to a post by a rope will keep walking round the post in an attempt to free itself, only to become more immobilized and attached to the post. The same thing applies to people with obsessive thinking, who become more trapped in their own suffering when they try to escape from their fears and discomfort.
So again, whenever we are thinking, you'll find that a person who's depressed will always keep thinking about the same thing, keep thinking about the same thing. Now they can't do anything about that thing that they are thinking about. And every time you have a thought, it consumes energy because it's a sparking in the brain. So you'll find a person who's depressed is low on energy because the brain is consuming excessive energy because of the thinking process. Now, the moment we start, what do we say? That, okay, a thought has come. Yes, a thought has come, acknowledge it, but don't let it run. Okay. Now, as soon as we do that, that means we are acknowledging that thought. Now, as soon as we acknowledge it, it doesn't have any power anymore and it automatically has to fade because there's a gap between the two thoughts. So the more we focus into that gap, okay, to get out of this constant monkey mind and thinking, the better off we will be. And again, that's why I like the Monroe process, because it allows you to go into that state of stillness where thoughts are not there. So what happens? When thoughts are not there, you're conserving energy to do other stuff, because the brain actually consumes 70% of all the energy that we have. And if you're thinking too much, then again it becomes a problem.
Bhaiya, can I ask you something?
Yeah, please.
You're saying that one should not think about it. But you know, it's there. Supposing there's a problem, and then how do you, I mean, what do you mean? You just don't think about it?
No, I didn't say don't think about it. I said do not engage it, to either take action.
Okay.
Okay. If you keep thinking this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem,
Okay.
this is a problem, this is a problem, then what are you doing? That it's like a broken down record player. It's going and it's just consuming energy for nothing. Either you sit down and find a solution for it. If there is no solution, then drop it.
Yeah. Okay.
So Robert Monroe in his book Far Journeys, he gave a nice technique. I've spoken about it many times, but he said that, okay, every one of us has a to-do list and a monkey mind, right? So whatever is going on in your head, make a list of it. Now, out of that thing, make 3 lists, A, B, and C. Everything that you can't do anything about, put it in A list. Everything that you have to do something about, put it in B list.
Bhaiya, what did you say first? Sorry.
I said everything that you can't do anything about, that you're thinking about, put it in A list. Everything that you have to do something about, you put it in B list. And everything that you want to do, you put it in C list. Okay. Now, the strategy he gave to deal with this is, he said, take your A list, tear it up and flush it down the toilet. The reason is that if there is something you can't do anything about, then there's no point in thinking about it. It's useless. It's a waste of time. Okay. Everything that is in your B list. Okay, I'm not clear. Can you all hear me? Will someone speak up?
Very broken.
No, Bhaiya, your voice is breaking.
Actually,
it's
today
not
there's
clear,
a big
Bhaiya.
problem.
I can hear.
Yeah,
No,
so
we
some
can't
people.
hear.
It's breaking.
Okay, let me repeat. Let me repeat this very slowly. So Robert Monroe said that we make 3 lists of everything that is troubling us. The first list, he said, everything that you can't do anything about, put it in A list. Everything that you have to do something about, put it in B list. And everything that you want to do, put it in C list. The strategy that he gave in that, then the next step, he said, take that A list, tear it up and throw it in the dustbin or flush it down the toilet. because there's no point in thinking about or wasting energy or paying attention to something you cannot do anything about. Then he said that in a given period, now that given period for you may be 1 day, it may be 1 week, it may be 15 days, it may be 1 month. For everything in that B list, do something about it within that given period. Now, what that will do is that it will start creating a movement in everything. Now, most of the time, what happens to us? We are thinking that I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. But ultimately, we are not taking any steps to it. So again, that's a waste of energy, because at one point, we cannot do two things at the same time, at any given time. So if I'm thinking about that and I'm focusing on reading the book, then I'm not reading the book and I'm not doing anything about that. So if you start doing something about that, then it starts to move. So I get to focus on what I'm doing. And then he said that within that given period, do something about at least one item in the C list. So you're doing something for your own pleasure, for your own growth, for your own development. That's something that you want to do. You really enjoy doing. Okay. Now, what will happen over a period of time? Everything in the B list that you have to do will automatically get done because it's completed. Now, which is the list you are left with? Only C list. All the stuff that you want to do. Is everyone clear with that? Or have I lost everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
No, yes. We all heard.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Bhaiya.
Shimangla, you're on.
The basic principles of Morita Therapy. Number one, accept your feelings. If we have obsessive thoughts, we should not try to control them or get rid of them. If we do, they become more intense. Regarding human emotions, the Zen master would say, if we try to get rid of one wave with another, we end up with an infinite sea. We don't create our feelings. They simply come to us and we have to accept them. The trick is welcoming them.
So now again over here. So I have a feeling. I need to accept that feeling. I need to acknowledge that feeling. What did I say? Now you have a thought. Now you acknowledge the thought. You accept the thought. And then you don't engage it. Okay. The moment you start doing that, you will put yourself into a position to transcend it. But if you engage it, then you are stuck in that rigmarole. You're stuck like a record player, broken down record player. Okay, because you can't get rid of something by thinking about it. You have to actually just drop it. You can't fight it. The moment you fight it, then you are
Bhaiya, you'll have to explain again. You're breaking.
okay.
You're breaking.
So the point here becomes that if any kind of, I think, should we quit it today? I don't know what's going to happen in the meditation. So what do you all say?
Because
Should
this
we
is a
quit
very
it today?
important topic. Bhaiya, this is a very
not being
important
able to hear,
topic.
Bhaiya.
Better we quit it today because बहुत important है ये वाला topic भैया.
Ajay, so let's, I mean, what? Okay, so let's stop reading the book. But if you all want to chat about something, we can do that.
Let's talk about me only. We've seen that first episode.
What do you all want to do, Ajay? Let's have some.
Listen, Geeta Chawla last time was wanting to ask about the left side and right side.
Okay,
so you
let's
can
do that.
explain that if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes, Geeta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so just imagine they are the four corners of a grid. Okay, now this represents any kind of emotion that we have. Now, if we are on the top side of this grid, that means on the top half, our heart rate is up. If we are on the bottom half, our heart rate is down. If we are on the left side of the grid, it is a depleting force. And if we are on the right side, it is an uplifting force. Okay. Now, can someone say, give me an emotion? Please unmute and just say.
Irritation.
What? Irritation. Okay, so now irritation, is your heart rate up when you're irritated or down?
Up.
Up. Is it depleting or is it uplifting?
Depleting.
So where are you? Now you have to, someone has to spell it.
It will be on the left top.
The left has to go up.
Okay, so left top.
The left.
So now let's talk about
Left.
some other emotion.
Fear.
I think people who haven't done it before should answer
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
it becomes clearer for them.
Yeah, so people who've
I
not
think
done it
fear.
before, please answer. I mean,
Gita.
just give an emotion,
Yeah.
then we'll talk about it.
Love.
Okay, love. So when you are in love or you are radiating love energy, is it uplifting or depleting?
Thing.
It is uplifting. So that means you're on the right side. Is your heart rate up or down?
Up.
It
No,
could be up,
down.
it could be down.
Down.
Okay.
Heart rate, okay.
So generally it is
Down.
down. Okay, so love.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, someone else, any other emotion?
Fear.
Got it.
Fear. Okay.
Fear.
Now when you are operating out of fear, is it uplifting or depleting?
Depleting.
Is your
Depleting.
heart rate up or down?
Up.
Up. So it is, the heart rate is up, so you're on the top side, and it is depleting, so you're on the left side. So it will be somewhere here. Give me some other emotion.
Stress.
Stress is not an emotion, but okay. When you're stressed out, are you on the left side or right side?
Left side.
Left side. Okay. And is it uplifting or depleting?
Depleting.
Yeah, so it's depleting. So you're on the left side. Is your heart rate up or down?
Up.
Down. Down.
Hello. Okay. So what was that emotion? 1 second.
Stress.
What?
I think it will be the
Stress. So you could say over here.
The lower.
Not clear.
Down.
Okay, please unmute only if you're saying something. Otherwise, keep yourself muted. Otherwise, we are going to have a problem. Okay, some other emotion. I've lost.
Excitement.
Excitement. Okay.
Excitement.
Now, excitement, is the heart rate up or down?
I think it's exciting.
It's up.
It's up. Okay. Is it depleting or renewing?
Renewing.
Uplifting.
Uplifting. I hope I have the spelling right. Okay. Some other emotions.
Grief. Happy.
Grief. Okay.
Sadness.
Sadness. So is it uplifting or depleting?
Depleting. Sadness.
Depleting.
Sadness is depleting. Is your heart rate up or down?
Down.
Sadness will be down.
You're sad. Yeah.
Okay, some other emotion.
Anger.
Anger. So when you're angry, is your heart rate up or down?
Up.
Okay, it's up. Is it depleting or uplifting?
Depleting.
So it's here. Some more. Suppose now you're very peaceful, you're in a meditative state. Is your heart rate up or down?
It's down.
Down.
Is it uplifting or
Neutral.
depleting?
It's neutral. You're happy and
You neutral. Yeah.
it's
When you're in
uplifting.
peace, your heart rate is down.
You're in
If you're
bliss.
calm, if you're in peaceful, or you're in a meditative state, generally it has been seen your heart rate comes down and it is uplifting. Okay, so I'm
so it
putting
will
here
be on
calm,
the right.
peace.
It will be on the lower.
Gratitude. Gratitude.
Gratitude is technically not an emotion, but when you are in gratitude, are you on the left? Is it an uplifting emotion or a depleting?
Uplifting.
Uplifting. And your heart rate generally would be
Down.
No.
Heart rate will be down now. You are like in gratitude.
okay. Now you're
I think
playing
it
a
should be
game
down.
and you're really having a good time and you're really feeling happy and full of joy. Is your heart rate up or down?
What type of game is it?
It is up.
It is up.
And it is uplifting. So joy.
It will be exciting.
Uplifting.
Uplifting.
Yeah.
And the rate will be also up. Heart rate will be up.
Okay.
Darshana.
Overwhelming.
Overwhelming. So now when you're overwhelmed, is it depleting or is it uplifting?
Uplifting.
Uplifting.
Overwhelmed. You're getting bogged down by something. How can it be uplifting?
Depleting.
Definitely depleting. And your heart rate could be up or down. So you'll be like literally on the line. So I'm putting it here. I hope I have the spelling right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now tell me, after seeing what?
Anxiety.
Anxiety. So when you're in anxiety, is your heart rate up or down?
Up.
Is it depleting or uplifting?
Depleting.
Anjana, you have to keep yourself muted. There's a feedback that comes from your phone. Oops. Okay. So anxiety, I don't have the spelling right? E, I think. Anyway. You'll get what I'm saying.
X-I-E-T-Y.
X-I-E-T-Y.
Anxiety.
Anyway, it can't be edited. So forget it. Okay. Frustration. So is it uplifting or depleting?
Depleting.
Your heart rate could be up, it could be down. Okay. So I'm just putting it here. Flustered. Okay, now if all of you see this, what we are seeing over here, would you rather be on the left side of the grid or the right side of the grid?
Right side. Yes.
Would anyone, please raise your hand,
side.
would anyone like to be on the left side?
Right side.
No. Please raise your hand. How many of y'all would like to be on the right side?
Right side.
Some people don't want to be there. Have you all not got it? Some people haven't raised their hand, so they want to be on the left side.
Right side.
Right side.
Some of you don't know how to raise your hand.
Yes.
Okay, so go to participant Go to participant, and over there you'll get a icon to raise hand. Okay, I'm clearing this. Now, does anyone want to be on the left side? क्या हुआ ये? I've lost it.
भैया आपका आवाज क्लियर नहीं है,
I lost
ब्रेक
it.
बीच बीच।
ये आज बहुत ही प्रॉब्लम है।
हाँ, इसलिए वो सब कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है।
Okay, so does anyone want to be on the left side?
No.
I don't think anyone wants to be on the left side.
No.
No, 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 no.
No, 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 no.
So
तो
now
मेडिटेशन भी ऐसी होगा।
अब देखते हैं क्या होगा।
वही तो।
So now the point becomes that the more awareness we bring into our state of consciousness as to which side of the grid are we operating from at any given moment in time, once we become aware, see, the key of this entire game is becoming aware. If we become aware that we are on the left side of the grid, only then can I put a strategy in place to come on the other side. Okay, so we want to come from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, or from here to here. Are you understanding that? Or from here to here. Now, whatever the strategy you put, like now in awareness, we've got people who attended the programs have a number of tools that they can use and implement to shift their state of consciousness. You can go into F10, you can go into F12, you can use the one breath technique to find a solution, you can use the reball, you can use so many different techniques, heart focused breathing. There are so many techniques that you can use to be able to go from the left side to the right side. And as we start using it, our resilience capacity starts to increase and we start spending more time on the right side of the grid than on the left side of the grid. Are you all getting that? Anyone has any questions about this? Anyone has any question about this?
Could you repeat the last bit, please?
So I said that you have to develop strategies which will allow you to shift from the left side of the grid to the right side of the grid. That's it. So whatever we are doing in awareness, like today, we are going to be talking about something called emotional freedom technique. It is a tapping, you tap on specific points. And when we tap on those specific points, the emotional charge that is related to a certain aspect of what you're doing will start to get released. Because there is something called the body holds score. So everything that is happening to us, it's in our biosphere, which we use biofield tuning to clear. And we can use tapping at a specific way in a specific manner to also relieve it. Again, tapping, we've done tapping once, we had a talk on tapping, but it was not you have to do it, you have to be at it. It's not something that, again, we are like layers, we are like onions. So a lot of stuff keep coming out. So you're using these techniques to clear the field. Okay. Yeah.
Bhaiya,
yes.
Bhaiya, can I just say, EFT really works. I've tried it.
Absolutely.
So, it really helps a person to
101%.
get rid of whatever. Yeah.
But
So
the challenge with
people
you have to do it. You have to do it. It's with anything, you have to do it, right? At the end of the day, you have to do it. So again, EFT also works. So it's another technique that you have. So if something is pulling you here, you use EFT to shift yourself from the left side to the right side of the grid. Rituji, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, Bhaiya. Bhaiya, I wanted to ask you, we've got 4 grids.
Yeah.
Right side is the best, but the heart rate down would be a better state than the heart rate up would be.
No. It depends on the circumstances, right?
Okay, fine. Okay, it doesn't matter. That's only the way to this thing, that one where your heart rate would be up, but to be on the right side is fine.
Yeah.
And okay. No, I thought, would it be more of a peace if you are in the down, the heart, on the right side with the down heart
Yeah,
rate?
see, both these things are good. I mean, the better thing is that you either on the left side or on the right side.
Okay, so that's it. Okay, I've got it. Thank you.
Again, I lost it.
It's all.
Yeah, now I got it. Yeah. So I think this is it's a very simple but such a powerful tool. It's not funny. Because it immediately makes you aware that where
which
you are
side?
operating.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else has any question on this?
Bhaiya, I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes,
Bhaiya,
this is
as
very
you said that
important for
you can.
you.
Yeah. So as you said that you can get it out of it yourself and through the reball and all these. So how does one do it? Can you just tell little bit
So
in
what is the
thoda sa
state? First, you need to understand. See, again, it's a 5-step process, right? The first thing is awareness. Right. So this will make you aware that now today you are having a problem in your life, or you're going through a particular situation in your life. Immediately place yourself, where are you in this grid?
Okay.
Now, once you placed yourself, that means you become aware that, okay, I'm on this side of the grid.
Right.
The next step is that you need to accept it.
Okay.
Now you've accepted that, yes, I'm in this side of the grid. So what does that mean? That I have accepted, yes, the feeling that I'm having, or the way that I'm dealing with this situation is depleting.
Right.
It is not uplifting.
Right.
Now, manifestation cannot take place when you have low energy. It can only take place when you have high energy. Are you getting that? So now that situation that you are in, you've understood that, okay, now it is in the left side of the grid. So now you need to brainstorm, which is the third step. What strategy can you implement to change your perspective about that particular thing? So that you can shift from the left side to the right side of the grid and then deal with that issue or whatever situation there is, operating from the right side of the grid and not from the left side of the grid.
Okay, I understand.
You get that? Then once you implement that solution, the fourth step is the implementation of that solution.
Right.
The fifth step is to observe whether it is working or not. Now, if that strategy is not working, then you come back to the third step to brainstorm what else can you do about it. But always operating from the right side of the grid. So you had a situation, right? Now put yourself on the grid. Where were you in when that situation occurred?
Right.
Were you on the right side or the left side?
I was on the left side.
Where in the left side?
Down.
So you were down in the left side. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you see, I had posted the scale of this thing, consciousness. Remember, it's posted a scale of consciousness. You don't remember?
I'm not being able to get you. Your voice is cracking.
Okay, so I had posted on the group, in the book reading group, a scale of consciousness.
Yes.
What is your level of consciousness that you're operating from? If you see where you are and what is your state, you can go into that list and see what is the level that you're operating from.
Okay.
You get that? Now that will also be a
Yeah, I
helpful indicator that where do you
Okay.
need to shift to be able to manifest that a solution be found. समझ में आया कि नहीं आया?
हाँ आया भैया, बट प्रॉब्लम इज कि जब कोई कंफ्रंटेशन होता है आई गेट वेरी इमोशनल एंड आई गेट वेरी मैं और क्वाइट होती जाती हूँ. लाइक पीपल गेट एंग्री, दे स्टार्ट शाउटिंग. मेरे साथ उल्टा होता है भैया.
अरे बाबा, you are on the right side of the grid, right? Now this strategy that
Right.
you've been using, has it worked?
So
Has it
now
worked?
after talking to you, I have learned. Now after talking to you that day, I have learned. Okay, when there's a situation like that, I don't get into it only now.
That is the point, right?
I'm still learning how to deal with it, bhaiya, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, so then the point is that you need to put, if a particular strategy has not worked in the past, now you need to look for a new strategy to deal with that particular situation.
Right.
But for finding the solution, you cannot achieve a solution from the same state of consciousness that the problem was created from.
Right.
You understand? So you need to shift your state of consciousness, you need to shift your perspective about it to be able to deal with that situation.
Okay.
So where are you operating from? Forget about where the other guy is operating from. You need to see where you are operating from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you operating? What was the base reaction? Are you operating from lack? Are you operating from abundance?
Totally from gratitude and abundance now. Totally from that.
So now once you shift into that, then when you approach the situation from the right side of the grid, the result will be totally different. Provided you don't slip back into the left side.
Yeah.
Because that has become the habit of slipping into the left side.
वो ऐसा होता है ना भैया, एक इंसिडेंट होता है, then you go back to the left side. ये
One
तो
second. What did I tell you? That provided you don't slip back into the left side. So whatever that situation, I am also not doodh ka dhula hua, okay? Certain things irritate me also, certain things push me off the grid also. You understand?
Yeah.
But the bounce back is quicker now. The bounce
Right,
back.
definitely.
So the point is to
100%.
be able to maintain that resilience inside you so that you can bounce back quickly and come back onto the right side.
Right.
Because
That
the
just happened very
solution will never come from the left side of the grid. It will only come
Yes,
from
I
the
agree
right
with
side
you.
of the grid.
Yes, I agree with you.
And Niket, also, if I can just add, since I've been with you for over 10 years now, this is Kavita here.
Yeah.
This doesn't come overnight. This takes time. It takes time to practice. As Shivendra ji was saying, it takes time to learn tables. You don't learn it overnight. So just by listening to a talk, because one needs to implement it, use it, make it your own, learn your different language, and then I think you can use it for yourself.
Perfectly said. And let me tell you, it works. I'm implementing in my own life. I'm constantly implementing all the time. I'm constantly observing which side of the grid am I operating. Now see, the net is not working, right? Now we can get very flustered about it. Or we can take it, theek hai, what is the best strategy to do? Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
So what can I do in this situation which will keep me uplifted? That's it. अब नहीं होएगा तो नहीं होएगा, उसके लिए अब माथा फोड़ने से कुछ होएगा तो है नहीं. Now today the net is creating a problem. I can't beat myself down here. Net is creating a problem. So we attempt to find a solution which puts us onto the right side of the grid.
Right, I understand.
Okay. Anyone else has any question?
Yeah, what is the fifth point after implementation of strategy?
Watching whether it's working or not.
Thank you.
Naturally, you have to observe, na, solution mila ki nahi.
Yeah.
I mean, just implementing something and it's not working, what's the point? Then again, you're back into the same state of consciousness.
Absolutely. Right. Thank you.
Anyone else, anything? Yes, Maria Das. Please unmute and ask. Maria Das. You can't unmute.
Here, forgiveness and hurt, where would it come?
Forgiveness, of course. Forgiveness, when you're forgiving, is your heart rate up or down?
It would be down.
It would be
you'll
down.
calmer.
Is it uplifting or depleting?
It is uplifting, so we'll be on this lower.
So that answers your question, right?
And what about
1 second, forgiveness.
Hurt. If you're hurt,
Okay,
that would be on the left side. Down
1 second.
below.
Now, if you are hurt, is it uplifting or depleting?
It would be depleting. So it would be on the left.
Is your heart rate up or down?
It will be down.
It could be up, it could be down, but generally it will be down.
It would be, generally it would be?
I mean, generally it would be down, but it could be up also. But hurt, if it is up, then it will become anger.
Okay.
So again, hurt is here and forgiveness is here. That's why forgiving someone, you change your perspective. What happens, this hurt that you got hurt, you forgive it. So you've used the strategy to go from here to here.
Okay.
By forgiving someone who has hurt you, you are transferring from left side of the grid to the right side of the grid.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Maria Dos, you have a question?
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, Maria.
Hello, can you?
Yeah, Maria.
Can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sir, that awareness, when we are in the higher conscious level and in abundance, when we are in higher conscious level and in abundance, we are able to find many strategies.
Correct, absolutely.
And then we work from one after the other, check whether it helps you to go from the left to the right.
Absolutely.
Is that so?
That's exactly
Thank
what
you,
I'm
sir.
saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
It was clear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That you go it because you cannot find a solution from the same state of consciousness. I'm grieving, and I'm wanting to find a solution. Impossible. I have to look up.
Yes.
I have to poke my head out of the thing, then look for a solution. I cannot find it in the same state of consciousness.
Correct.
So that is why putting a strategy in place to lift your level of consciousness becomes very important.
Fine. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Anyone else, anything? Otherwise, we can wrap up for today. Yes, Alka?
Yeah, sir. Most of the time, others' emotions affects us. As some front person is sad or anger, then it affects on us also.
Okay,
so
yeah. So now what happens? This is again a matter of resilience. Okay. What is the state of resilience that you have? Now I have a very big magnet and I have a small magnet. I bring the small magnet near the big magnet. Who's going to get affected?
Big magnet?
The big magnet will get affected or the small magnet?
Small affected.
The big magnet will affect the small magnet, right? So if you increase your power, then who's going to get affected? If the person who's in a depleting state of consciousness, the power of that person is more than your power, then that person will take you with it. But if you are powerful, then that person cannot bring you down. You will bring him up. So if someone is depleting you, again look at which state of consciousness are you in? Where are you operating in the grid? And then change your perspective of how you are engaging that person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Anything?
Bhaiya,
Yes.
I am really afraid of this Manisha.
Manisha, I can't see you here. Anyway, bolo.
Put on your video.
ये जो अभी कोरोना का जो फियर है एंड माय मॉम एंड डैड आर सफरिंग, तो वो उसका फियर मुझे पहले से डे 1 से ये इतना चल रहा है, तो आई एम नॉट रियली एबल टू कम आउट ऑफ इट. इट्स इन फैक्ट डे बाय डे आई एम गोइंग inside and it's affecting me really very badly.
So again, when you are getting affected, which side of the grid are you operating from?
Left. I am
Left,
trying
right.
to come by doing meditation
No.
in right grid, but
Trying,
still I'm not.
Trying कुछ नहीं होगा. Drop कर दो, चिंता को छोड़ दो, बस finish. Matter is over. जो होगा वो होगा, देखा जाएगा.
Okay.
Simple.
Thank you.
What's the word? See, don't take me otherwise, okay? Suppose someone gets corona. Okay, now what's the worst that can happen? Oh. Don't take me otherwise. But I always tell this. Jada se jada kya hoga? Understand where I'm coming from, okay? Please don't take it personally. Suppose I am facing a problem, I always think, what's the worst case scenario? Jada se jada kya hoga? ठीक है? Once I have already accepted the ultimate, then anything is better than that.
So accept the situation, whatever
Accept
it
the
is.
situation. So become in the present, and now in the present, what do you need to do to the best? Do it.
Yeah.
That's all. अब
Yes,
हो
भैया.
जाएगा तो उसके लिए जो करना है वो करना पड़ेगा ना. डरने से तो कुछ नहीं होगा. Let me tell you, the best way to transcend a fear is to face the fear.
Yeah. Right.
So if you are scared of corona, go and get corona. फिर fear खत्म हो गया ना.
Right.
कि नहीं हुआ.
Right. Yes.
अब कोरोना हो गया तो उसके बाद डरना क्या है?
गुस्सा नहीं है इसको.
You got that? What I'm saying? See,
Yes,
again, I'm
Bhaiya,
not
yes,
saying
yes.
that become foolish, right? Don't take precautions. But
Yeah.
डरने से डर के मरने से तो मरना better है.
Yes. Exactly.
So drop it. Simple.
Yeah. Yes, Bhaiya. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Otherwise, we'll wrap up.
Niket, I wanted to ask you, when is the excursion? When are you planning to have that
Just
excursion?
now, we are, who's that? Christine. Who's speaking?
Christine.
Yeah. So the institute has now the board has taken a decision that excursion can go online, and they've asked all the trainers to send in their applications to be able to train online programs. They have to go through certain protocols. We are already clear with all the protocols. So as soon as they authorize this to happen, I guess sometime in September we will program the 2-day excursion.
Okay.
Sometime in September we will program it. They are putting some stipulations in there that previously excursion did not have any royalty payment to the institute. They are asking for a royalty payment. There is a price panga. They are saying that we have to charge $350 for the excursion. I said nothing doing. It cannot happen in India. So that panga is going on. We have to work on the pricing with the institute because they want across the board same kind of pricing, which over here and in America there's a very big difference. So that is one panga which is there. They have a cap on the number of people who can join. That is not such a big deal. Okay, we can have more excursions, but the price point is a very big panga right now. So until all that is cleared up, it becomes little difficult. But I guess by September it should go.
Okay.
Or we will put some other strategy in place. But September, excursion will happen. Either it will be an authorized program or an unauthorized program. So we have the means to make it an awareness program, but I'd rather that it be a Monroe Institute program, because there is some value to that, because you get a certificate from the institute. So that has some value, whatever value it has.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Dolly, you have a question again?
Close it up.
Yeah, so unmute. Dolly, you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Bhaiya, that supposing someone is hurting us, can we give that person a reball?
Of course you can. The idea would be that you give yourself a reball for inner calm, harmony. You give a reball to that person also for inner calm and harmony, for a win-win situation to arise. In the sense that first you give for inner calm and harmony to both of you, and then create a reball covering both of you. So first you give individual reballs, and then you give a reball covering both of you, saying that a win-win situation develop.
Right.
You understand?
Okay. Yes.
So then you attempt to create a win-win situation or a win-win scenario.
Right. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Okay. Chaliye. So let's wrap up for today. I think this was a good discussion. And we will see you all for meditation. I hope there's no problem during the meditation.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
Very interesting. Ram Ram. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Ram Ram.
Thank you, Ram Ram.
Ram Ram.
Thank you,
Ram
Bhaiya.
Ram.
Ram Ram. Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank